We are very excited because Oprah, as in Winfrey, you know there's only one, is here to reveal her newest book club selection. Only on CBS Mornings, and you know we love when this happens. So, Oprah, drum roll, please. What did you select?
Vlad usually gives you the drum roll.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ready?
It's called The River is Waiting by Wally Lamb.
Okay.
Yay!
The River is Waiting is a story of Corby Ledbetter. He's a young and struggling stay-at-home dad to twin toddlers. I always wanted twins. He causes a tragedy that tears his family apart. So this book tracks Corby's journey through prison, where he witnesses acts of brutality and kindness, and how he hopes forgiveness might eventually be possible. We're happy to say that Wally Lamb has joined the conversation.
Wally Lamb!
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now, what makes this so extraordinary to me, Wally, and to Oprah, because this is the third Wally Lamb book that you picked, and you normally don't have repeat authors. Why Wally?
Well, because Wally is such a profoundly outstanding magician of words. And also because when I started reading this story, Wally, I started to think immediately in the first chapter of real life stories that I'd done for so many years on the Oprah show. And when we did the podcast with Starbucks in Seattle, I actually invited one of those people who had one of these tragedies to you know, it's life imitating art, imitating life, yes.
Exactly.
So Wally, what did you think when you got the call? Because now it's like you and Oprah are old pals. You've had conversations. Does your phone literally ring and it's Oprah again?
Yes, and
were you
this
doing?
is the third time, and it was just as shocking as the other two. I couldn't believe it, and yet I felt really comfortable because we had talked several times before,
Yes,
and
yes.
And you have that gift of making people feel comfortable.
She does have that gift. But Nate had said something about emotions. Could we just show the picture? This is me reading the book. And the book, this picture could have been taken
Wow.
the beginning, the middle, or the end, Wally. That's how powerful the book is. It grabs you right away.
You're reading this you're on a plane?
I'm on a plane. I got so choked up that the flight attendant came and said, "Are you okay, Gayle? Are you all right?" I go, "I'm just reading this book." And then you feel kind of foolish. But it tells you the power of words on a page to do. What did you want people to take away from this book?
Well, when I'm writing the book, it's mine, and then when it's published, it goes out into the world, and it's not mine anymore. So I think that people should have the freedom to take what they want from it or what they might need from it, but I don't try to control that.
You don't.
Where did the story start, though?
Yeah.
Where did this story start?
It started with an article I read in the newspaper about these terrible backover accidents that happen. Usually it's a small child who is behind the car, and usually it's the mom or dad who is thinking about something else, or can't see the kid in the back, and they'll back up. And
So it starts from a news.
This book is very layered, and there's a lot of themes, guilt and parental responsibility. There's redemption and forgiveness. There's addiction. And I want to focus on that because the trauma is tied to the addiction. It can both drive it or be driven by it.
Yep.
What are some of the things that you want people to take away as they read this?
Well, that addiction is a black hole that you can get out of.
Can get out of.
And just that that 12-step programs really work for people.
You all know Wally's worked with so many women in prison.
For 20 years.
That's why I was so surprised that this was a story about a guy, because I thought you would have had the woman go to prison instead of him, of a male. And I think so much was fueled by your experiences working with these women, teaching women in prison how to write their own stories.
Right. So I knew about the kind of stuff that goes on in prison from their stories.
Yeah.
But also one of the themes that I wanted to tackle was how men are different than women, and how a men's prison would be different than a woman's prison too. So yeah, that part I did a lot of research on.
Yeah.
And I learned new things like what the slang is in prison, at a guy's prison, and none of which I can say on air.
Yeah. I like all the Connecticut references. You're a Connecticut guy. I like all the Connecticut references in particular.
Yeah, we had that
common,
right?
I like that very much.
Oprah, you mentioned the podcast. You had a guest come on the podcast, the one that you did with
Yes.
Wally. Why did you invite that guest? And what was the intention?
Because as
who was she?
As Nate was just saying, this is about redemption and forgiveness, and when something really tragic happens in a family, can you be forgiven? And Teresa and her family represented not just a fictional version of what Wally has done,
Right.
but they lived a very tragic experience where this woman was driving, fell asleep at the wheel, and killed 3 of her children.
Drowned.
Yes. The
And she
car ran off
survived.
and
She
she
survived.
survived. And also one of the daughters who was in the car survived and is now grown up and was with us on the podcast.
Yeah.
In Seattle.
It was
So-
unbelievable to me. And then I talked to them quite a bit after the
Yeah.
podcast was over, and they're just they're a phenomenal.
that they were able to forgive.
But that's part of
She
the book.
stayed with her husband.
Accepting mistakes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is part of the book.
But I would have been Emily in
Forgiveness.
this story. I would have been Emily. It would have been really
Yeah, I don't know
hard.
how. I put myself in Emily.
Yeah.
Emily is a mom.
Yeah.
But Oprah, did you have a feeling how it was going to end? Because I had one thing in my mind about how I know it's going to, which I always like when it doesn't end the way I think. When you were reading it, did you think, oh, I know where this is going?
I
You
never. And do not go to the last page.
Yes.
Do not go to the last
Wally, did you know how it was going to end when you started the book? Did you know?
No, I'm not that kind of a writer. I know some writers will outline the
outline.
whole thing
Yes. Yeah.
and then write toward a preconceived ending.
So did
but
the ending surprise you, Wally?
It did, really.
Yeah.
Well, when I
that
started,
process.
there was no COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that becomes important.
A part of
as
the
story
story.
goes
Central to
on.
the
Yeah. And no, I don't love to write. I like to write some days when it's going well, and when it's not, I just feel like I owe it to the characters to show up at my desk and figure out what's going to happen to them.
Well, I appreciate it because it's a modern story
Yes.
that can happen to anybody.
Right.
The River is Waiting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good title,
Wonderful.
too. The
Really
River's
is.
Waiting, very significant. We thank you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. The River's Waiting is on sale now wherever you like to buy your books. We also invite you to check out cbsmornings.com. We've got a reader's guide and a free excerpt from the book. Did you hear the part? Free excerpt. I hope you picked something good.
Nice.
And watch Wally Lamb's conversation with Oprah on the Oprah podcast, available on YouTube or wherever you like to get your
It's all good,
podcasts.
Gayle. It's all good.